wet
pants.
I'm wearing sweat pants, but wearing red lips. I am wearing sweat pants. Hey everyone, my name is Isabeau and welcome to my channel. This video is going to be a December wrap-up / January TBR. I'm going to start with the books that I read in December. I read 4 books this December and loved most of them. And then I will roll into the January TBR. Holy crap, how is it 2017? I don't know. The first book that I finished in the month of December is Valley of the Dolls by Jacqueline Suzanne. I really liked this book. I think the best way to describe it, there's a Nora Ephron quote on the back that said, "The kind of book most of us readers could not put down, I for one could not. For me, reading Valley of the Dolls was like reading a very long, absolutely delicious gossip column, magnetic." And that's exactly what this felt like. It was trashy and wonderful and terrible. I talked about this a little bit in my December TBR. I was about halfway through or a third of the way through at that point. I will link that down below from when I attempted Vlogmas, which went terribly. I really enjoyed this book. I did think that some of the characters, namely Neely, were horrible, terrible people, but you know, sometimes that's fun to read as well. I'm a bit of a dork. This is the 50th anniversary edition with the pretty pink pages. And there are typos for days in this book, which I was like, man, I wish I was a book editor so that I could read wonderful, horrible, trashy books like these and catch all of the typos, because I think I'd be really good at it. I loved it. It was a fast read, kind of once I got going. I couldn't put it down. I had to figure out what was going on. And I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars, subtracting a star for basically Neely. She was the worst. The second book that I read in December, I don't have with me. It is in California. My dad is currently reading it, and that is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I loved this. I loved it so much. Once I picked it up, I couldn't put it down. I finished it within a week, and that was with all of my work commitments and travel commitments that I had going on at the time. It was incredible. All I knew about it going in was that it was a heist book, and that's exactly what it was. It was about a group of 6 characters, hence Six of Crows, who go and try to break into an impenetrable prison to break out a prisoner for a prize worth more than any of them can imagine. It was a multi-perspective novel, and it was one of the few multi-perspective novels where I enjoyed everyone's point of view. I definitely had a few favorites, namely Kaz and Inesh. I loved them, and I want them to get together so bad. Those two were my favorites, but I wasn't kind of rushing through any one person's section to try and just like, oh, it's this guy's turn. Ugh. No, I loved it. I loved everybody. I cared about everybody. I handed it off to my dad right away. I was like, you're gonna love this. And then my mom like read the outside jacket, and she was like, oh, what's that? So I think she might read it too. It's going to get passed around California before it makes its way back to Texas, but highly recommend. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. The third book that I read this month is Fun Home, a family tragicomic by Alison Bechdel. I have conflicting feelings about this. I love Alison Bechdel. I'm not sure that graphic novels are meant for me. As I started this, I sort of realized that I was close to reaching my December Goodreads challenge, and as a result, I just wanted to get through this so that I could complete my challenge. I thought I was way far behind, but actually I had one more book to read after this one, so I just wanted to get through it, and as a result, I didn't really appreciate the comic sort of nature of the book. I was just reading the words and the thought bubbles to get through it as quickly as I could. It is a very interesting story. This is the story sort of her relationship with her father, who ran a funeral home, and they had a very difficult relationship. This book actually got turned into a musical, which is really exciting. I love musicals, but I just think graphic novels maybe aren't for me. I don't take the time to appreciate the art so much as I just read the words, and that kind of defeats the purpose of a graphic novel. So I gave this 3 out of 5 stars, not because it's bad, but just because it wasn't my cup of tea. the last book that I read this month, I also don't have with me, and that is Crooked Kingdom, the second book in the Six of Crows duology. I had to read a book in between because I made the mistake of not ordering Crooked Kingdom as soon as I started Six of Crows, so I had to wait for it to get here. I also loved this one. I loved it, I think, almost as much as the first one. I'm not sure if I placed them next to each other which one I enjoyed more, but I really liked them. I read about half of it on the flight to California and then had to finish it while I was in California so that I could give it to my dad so that he would have both books to read. I thought it was really exciting, just as exciting as the first one. I don't want to give anything away, no sort of spoilers, but it's basically picks up pretty much right after the events of the first book, and you're trying to figure out how they're going to get out of the situation that they've got into because of the actions and the story in the first book. Again, multi-perspective, loved everybody, got a little choked up. It's so good. It's so good. I really enjoyed it. It's probably my favorite book series. Maybe the only complete series I read this year. I also appreciated that it was a duology. It felt like a very complete story, and didn't have to have a third book to sort of expand things out and have that middle book syndrome. It was perfect and I loved it. I liked it so much that I was reading a different book on the plane on the way back to Austin, and I was like, I really wish I had Six of Crows or Crooked Kingdom to read again. If it has rereadability like that, you know that it's good quality stuff. I also gave that one 5 out of 5 stars. With that book, I actually finished my Goodreads goal, which was only to read a book a month. It was a tough year this year for me in reading. I went through sort of like stops and starts where I read a lot and then I didn't read it all for a couple months, and I read a few and then I didn't read it all. So it's good to end on a high quality note. So I'm starting off in January with, I don't know, an ambitious but hopefully sort of realistic amount of books here. The first book that I will be reading in January is The Circle by Dave Eggers. This is being turned into a movie, or was turned into a movie, starring Emma Watson and John Boyega, who is my love. I love that guy. This is the story of a girl named May who goes to work at an internet company called The Circle. It is apparently the internet company to work. Basically, they've taken everything that we do online, social media, online payment systems, and put it into one simple thing, and then they expand that business out. And it's an interesting take on sort of the society that we live in, where we're plugged in all the time, we're constantly sharing what we're doing, who we're with, what we like, what we don't like. That sort of social engagement, is it actually real? Things start to get a little crazy. The back cover says, what begins as the captivating story of one woman's ambition and idealism soon becomes a heart-racing novel of suspense, raising questions about memory, history, privacy, democracy, and the limits of human knowledge. I'm about halfway through this. It is 491 pages. It doesn't look it, but the pages are super thin. So I will say it's a bit of a slow burn. It reads quickly, but I'm interested to see where it's going, because you can kind of see that things are getting a bit fishy at the Circle. This is also the only fiction book that I have included in this month's TBR, so we shall see. So the second book that I'm attempting to read this month is a carryover from last month. It is Chasing Portraits by Elizabeth Renneke, a great-granddaughter's quest for her lost art legacy. I said I was going to finish this in December, and I did not. I am about halfway through. I'm going to do it. I talked about this extensively in my December TBR, so I'm not going to ramble on about it. I'm going to do it. I'm so determined. And since I only have about half of the book left, I'm putting it into this month so that hopefully I will finish this and get a sense of accomplishment. You and I have a date with destiny, my friend. I'm probably not going to finish this one. The last book that I'm going to attempt to read this month is The Lady in the Tower, The Fall of Anne Boleyn by Alison Weir. This is a nonfiction book about Anne Boleyn and sort of her days spent in the Tower of London. I am obsessed with Anne Boleyn. I love Tudor era British history. I've read a few sort of historical fiction books about Anne Boleyn, and this is actually a nonfiction book. She was executed by her husband, King Henry VIII, for, I think, treason and adultery. I picked this up in Barnes & Noble on a whim because I love Anne Boleyn. I mean, look at her. Oh, who could say no to that face? There is a pretty big appendix in here, so this book is only 347 pages. So hopefully I can get this done. I'm optimistic about my chances. I love Anne Boleyn, so this should be easy peasy lemon squeezy. So that is going to do it for my December wrap-up / January TBR. Let me know if you enjoyed this video and enjoy seeing these kinds of videos. And let me know down below what was your favorite book that you read in December and what is at the top of your list to read in January. And we will do our Goodreads challenges together. Teamwork. I'm a nerd. Thank you. Bye.